Right, we're rolling.
Alright. So Jack
Nike
and Aaron, I'll start off on a congratulatory note with the People's Choice.
Definitely a word,
TV Choice, sorry. TV Choice Award. Best Actor.
Definitely a word, congratulatory.
Congratulatory, yes.
I'm going to take that one.
Congratulations.
Education.
How are the feelings after getting that? Has it changed your way of thinking, changed your way of self-perception or anything?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah, greatly, dramatically. It's given me an asserted, it's just clarification in it, I'm doing well at my job.
Yeah.
So I might as well continue.
Very encouraging, I'm sure.
Yeah. Just certifies that I'm not the worst actor. If the award says within that category best actor, I'll take that one. Yes, this is a TV category though, so it means that certain actors are exempt. I think I want to go against them all. BAFTAs. I want to be in the BAFTA league. Yeah.
So yeah,
promotion.
Aiming high. What would be your idea of a personal successful career?
Oh, I've got a few milestones, and I think we talked through it, but for the benefit of everyone else. Yeah, I think if I've done one or two roles, I've got a few idealistically that I'd like to achieve. One of them being Paul Gascoigne. Someone write fucking Paul Gascoigne script, get me in, it'd be a wicked audition. If that one come about, then I'm quite happy to retire. Well, that should give you some idea. I want to make sure I sort of use my strengths to put on record, on documentation, or document some beautiful Britishness as a Beatles and all that shit.
Yeah.
I'd like to character act. I've got a role as Bobby Charlton.
I was going to say, yeah, on the
next one.
football note, if you wanted to pick that up. Yeah, you told me about your new role. So when's filming on that start?
I've got about another 2 weeks back in Derby.
Yeah.
And then from there onwards I'm out to Northumberland, which is where Bobby himself is from, which will help my accent. Because I'm from Derby.
Yeah.
And we speak a little bit like this, because we drink bitter. Shit.
Real men.
Don't feel overweight. Interferes with our pronunciation, don't you?
Indeed.
So, yeah, I got this job lined up, so it means that there's one character actor. The rest before I've been able to make up for myself. Now Cook won't register as Bobby Charlton, so it's up to me to
Exactly.
adapt that shit.
It's a new type of character for you as well, so I'm sure you're excited to
Yeah,
spread your wings, right?
That's it. Not really apprehensive as well this time around. Well, yeah, because I've got reference for it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not necessarily just mine, it's a joint effort.
So where do you, when you're creating a character and you're coming up with the ideas for sort of mannerisms and how you act in the parts, where do you take your influence from? Is it real life, past experience?
Mainly a combination of the two.
Other actors as well, director, tips?
It's important. I think you've got to be open-minded, so you get that. That means you gain more source.
So
you get more detail.
Take sources from every aspect of life. Then, yeah.
I think it's up to the character that you got is that determines where you define it.
Right.
So depending on the certain character, that's when I'll look at a certain aspect of reality or society. So you likes to cook, like I'll use what I know, the people I know, or the likes of myself.
Yeah.
To just sort of generate it into the character. So by the time you've got a character actor, it's important to be able to, I think, it's impersonation in it to a degree. Or to bring that to life, I can't just emulate, I have to sort of be as opposed to act.
Yeah.
So what I like to do is I take it in, and the same goes for the likes of the characters I get to make up when I'm with the writing. I like to adopt what I think would be their mannerisms, and I like to go and walk around.
Yeah.
Just around Ulverston, where we're from.
Yeah.
And hold time. Any day. They come find me at the Wyatt. Be a merry one. Good old James Wyatt. Right, so I go round to the James Wyatt, my local pub that I know and love. Sometimes I understand if I'm going in there, not as myself. No, that's not particularly true. I get slapped back down to the earth if I do.
So you'll get into character outside of hours and you'll sort of...
Yeah. One recently I was playing a guy, I don't think it's been screened yet. So I was playing a young Cockney Irish dude, and he was in the 60s.
That's for the Runaway, right?
Yeah.
Runaway. Look out for it.
It's a Martina Cole novel originally, where it got adapted into a script.
Yeah.
A good one at that. And I had to play some 60s sort of, like, you know what I mean? But it wasn't, he couldn't walk over him, you know what I mean? But that meant the likes of nowadays, like someone will walk very differently now if they're hard than they did in the 60s.
Okay.
So I did a lot of looking into the craze and whatnot. It's a lot of fun. It's just make believe, innit? It's play acting. So I just got to stroll around the area, people understanding that. I didn't walk too dissimilar from that anyway back in the day, so people wouldn't have thought much. But it's about really not just disengaging yourself from anything what people are thinking as well. It means coming into Derby and whatnot, if I wanted to rehearse my act and my character, I'd just go into sly places that was low key and just be them.
So would you say it takes a real sort of open-mindedness and like a will to learn to be able to, you know, stem out into that sort
I think that will better you.
another person's shoes.
Yeah, I think it'll aid you. I think it will set you apart from the rest that probably don't. Because a lot of people, especially in my experience anyway, like some people I've worked with are a bit self-conscious, which detracts what they be doing with the character. Unless of course the character they're playing is self-conscious. But it's just the world of make-believe, man. Like, you can talk about it all day long, but because it's non-specific, it's probably pointless. You know, it's what you make of it, especially if the character's yours, man. Unless, like I say, that's the main defining point, that's where it separates.
Yeah.
In terms of playing a character that's been created especially for the project, or you're trying to document someone that lived, that people have reference to already. That's where it splits, and that's where you've got to sort of respect, appreciate the different approaches. Otherwise, you're just gonna fuck up.
Yeah.
You know, if I play Bobby Charlton with my accent and as a bit cook-like, then I'm a one-trick pony, and that's not what I'm about. That's not why I got involved. And then it means as well, like you're prepared to appreciate the difference between theatre and film. You're listening, boys. This might do well for you, like educational. Another cousin, another one's turned up, true to form. Can't go anywhere without bumping him.
An aspiring actor himself.
Turns out. Good
Yeah,
on you,
look
boys.
out, keep your eyes on the TV screens. You never know. Who knows?
Yeah, Bodger's at the same workshop that I originated at.
Yeah, how
Stumbled about.
did that come about then? So you got into acting through the workshop, right?
Well, we went to Benedict's, didn't we? That was our school.
St Benedict's, yeah.
And they like to think they specialise in drama. They didn't necessarily so much when it was our time there, but nowadays they're sort of funding on that. It's really taken toll, so they've got the facilities and whatnot. And I like twatting about anyway. I like being a mouthpiece. I considered it rewarding when people used to laugh at me at school, more so than results and exams and that. So that came with its troubles, obviously, like in certain lessons where it's more theory than practical. But by the time I was in drama, it was being welcomed, that sort of forward nature.
Yeah.
So they gave me my application form for the workshop in Nottingham. At the time it was called Carlton, but it's not now, but it's run by the same guy, Ian Smith.
Right.
And Michael Sucker was already there at the same time. He was at
Yeah,
Benedict's
he's
as
another
well.
St Benedict's guy.
He's doing well for himself, so
This is
it goes
England.
to show we're not fluking it. And he's basically sort of, I'm seeing him pave the way there. It's given me a belief. I had no reason to doubt myself anyway at that age.
Yeah.
So by the time I'd been there a couple of years and that, it was getting sent for auditions and whatnot. And it's basically a weekly occurrence. You go there and you can land on your face, you can dust yourself off, and everyone's laughing about it. Take risks, you know what I mean, all night. And you know what I mean, just it helps you with your confidence. You know
So
what I
they
mean?
encourage you to sort of push yourself. Right?
More, yeah. But then again, if your sort of work is naff, if what you're doing comes across sort of just not funny or pointless, it's made known, you know what I mean? You can't really afford to not be entertaining, really, I find. So it's not a pressure, it's just make sure that when you're in the middle you've got something to say for yourself, like. So, but obviously growing up with the likes of yourself for a couple of years, my junior, you'll be my senior, you can all get reference, you know what I mean? Like, you'd have influenced me growing up. I'd like to think the same, because although it's best to leave this in here, it's best not to talk about it, I think. It's let it happen, for the sake of the lens. I reckon that for him to be going to the same workshop anyway, I'd like you to think that there was absolutely nothing stopping you from achieving or bettering yourself. Because you'd probably end up at the workshop longer than I was there for anyway. So same guys as well that you're working with and that. So
you've moving on a little bit. You've worked with a few big names, right? Stephen Graham, to name one. Obviously Shane Meadows and This Is England. How would you say they've influenced you, sort of career-wise, performance-wise, and in life in general?
Well, Shane like gave me a good perspective of the whole industry.
Right.
By being as sort of unique as he is,
Right.
it made me see that he can do exactly what he wants to do. By looks to what's being said, producer-wise, as long as you've got a good relationship there, a trusting one,
Right.
then you're allowed to really achieve what you want to see, as opposed to what the production company that are funding it are trying to see.
Right. So you've worked in that environment as well, the one that's more strict in terms of funding, and
Yeah,
it's
it's
more
a bit more.
comes from above.
It's a bit more television-esque. It's
Yeah.
a bit typically a TV approach. You know what I mean? They've already decided what they're trying to see before you've even shot it, so you sort of feel very much trapped. I've found my experience. But by when I was 15 doing This Is England, I didn't really have an overall at all. I'd only done a handful of jobs before that.
Mm.
So he basically gave me gave me every reason to believe that I can portray how I want it to be seen, without having to be anal about it, without having to be a nuisance to anyone, as long as I concentrated on it. And then the perfect example for that, luckily enough on the same job, was Stephen Graham playing combo, like right there in front of me as well. Luckily in a lot of the scenes as well, I wasn't up to much, like noted. Like it meant that I could observe and there's no better tutorial really.
Yeah.
And for him to be going on, like I'd seen him before takes and he'd be marching about fully as combo, completely drop himself, and I remember thinking, well that's I've always had an inkling that that's what I want my performances to come across as. After action, I'm that character, I'm nothing else. I don't think you can really fault that, because the whole time it's a justification of him actually being there, as opposed to him being conscious of his mark and the lighting. And I know you'd be surprised how many actors are more technical than they are, emotional.
Yeah.
So seeing Stevie put himself in that situation all the time, like prepared to, as willingly and thriving off it. I had a job shortly after that called Eden Lake, where I played a nutter on a similar degree as combo. And like I say, I'm adamant not to imitate, but I'd be lying if I said Stevie didn't teach me the majority of what I needed to approach Brett, my character in Eden Lake, or the kind of technique that I needed to approach it with was definitely Steve Graham's doing. And we spoke about this as well, that's a good thing and all. Like, he knows that I'm fully appreciative of what he taught me. But then I've worked with Michael Caine as well now. I'm not.
Yeah, I was just about to mention. I mean, that's in a way even bigger. I hate to compare, but how was that? Must have been awe-inspiring.
Well, I didn't want to bring it up, you know what I mean? I just thought I forgot him.
Yeah, no, not at all. How was Mikey?
Himself.
Mikey himself.
MC.
Sir Mike.
Sir Mike. He's like that, man. Apparently he was telling a lot of people to call him Michael, and just call me Mike, and he talks at that pace.
That's it. You're both from sort of, I'm sure with Stephen Graham as well. I'm not so sure about his background, but both from sort of working class, honest, realistic backgrounds. I mean, surely that was must be inspirational to see those guys being in such big pictures themselves.
But that's it, man. It gives you a belief as well that you can't always afford decency. You know what I mean? You can't buy decency. Like, these boys were never privileged, like myself, I'd say. So I'm sure that they more valued what they were taking in, the lessons they were learning, that puts them in a position where they can reenact a character to the degree that you've seen Stephen Graham, Sir Michael Caine achieve.
Yeah.
Now, working with a guy like Michael Caine anyway, you can sort of play up in your head, you can be hysteric about it if you wanted to. I'm sure there'd been plenty about it if I'd have worked myself up about that I could have, gone over the top with. But I made the decision beforehand, because I only had the one in particular scene with him, where it was playing off each other.
Where it killed you.
Tortured me.
Yeah, tortured you.
Wasn't his doing, don't accuse him. Nah, like, because I was aware of the, you know what I mean, the extent on which we'd have to sort of engage on, I didn't want to overplay that into anything. I just wanted to rely on the day. So it meant that when we was working with each other, it was, I mean, there's obviously, I'm not going to lie, the whole time in between takes you are thinking, what is he up to? You just want to see what he's doing, just for lessons. And like, you just, I'm really adamant I'm not clouding the space and that with what he's been up to before. I want to let him work and also we can achieve. So when I was seeing that the way he was approaching his scene wasn't too dissimilar to the way I'd approach a scene similar, that's really reassuring. Whether it's him telling me or me making up for myself, irrelevant. And then he's charming enough a colleague as well to compliment your work, even though he's seen. I mean, I'm not going to try and reel off the amount of people he's worked with, you know what I mean? Because I never epitomise it. But I mean, the good, decent actors, the inspiring ones anyway. For him to mention any kind of positive response anyway on that degree, I'm going to take in as you know what I mean, you just got to listen to it. Because it helps you believe.
Spurring you on, right, to keep,
it's half of it, Mike. You know, spurring, like if you're believing what you're doing and other people are, then it really is as fickle as that. Say if you woke up that day, yeah, and you just really fucked up earlier on, like say if I went to work having really fucked up in my day, really upset a relative, like let my mum down horrifically or something, I'd be a shit actor that day. Yeah. And it is about cutting that off, but at the end of the day, if you haven't got anything to cut off, if you're more or less proud as to what you bring in there, then you can combine it with your character and then it can work together nice, as opposed to, you know what I mean, trying to separate whether like you're a good actor or not. You can really work yourself up in a mess because it is quite a lot psychological as well. But yeah, no, working with these kind of folks anyway, it certifies it for you again, like an award will, having it on paper, knowing that you're gaining that self-belief about yourself is half of the doing. Are you listening?
I'm listening.
I'm glad you are, mate. Let's see.
So going back to Shane Meadows, his films, have you seen Dead Man's Shoes? Yeah, brilliant film.
Isn't it?
His films have got a real sort of typical British grittiness about them, like a realism and a down-to-earth feel. How would you say that's achieved? How does he work differently to be able to get that? Would you say there's a? I mean, you haven't worked on any American stuff, have you? Yet,
no.
So, I mean, I suppose it's difficult to
this side of the pond.
But
Yeah, I can see it in I can add a contrast with the high budget jobs and the money that Shane works with. Like he can really get a powerful story as true to life. It will bring you into the story because it's that relevant, because the performances are that convincing. And he knows his formula on that front and he can achieve it on that money. Now I don't think you have to go out. I think if you're trying, the more you're trying to find something, the less likely you are to achieve it.
So is it as much about utilising resources that you've got rather than, you know, just throwing money at something and just hoping that you know you can click your fingers and get it?
That's how it's done corporately on the other end of the industry, isn't it? In terms of the massive budget ones, I mean, I can't pass comment like more than your next man could. But when it comes to like how Shane gets sort of BAFTA award-winning films with the money that he's given, is, in my understanding anyway, I think it's down to the very fact that he knows what he wants to see and he knows what will sell his film before he gets it. And because he's lenient when it comes to filming it as well, he's aware that actors are going to understand what you know. He's aware that if he lets it breathe, without nailing it to a script, if you get everyone in and interpret things yourselves, provided you don't get a load of selfish actors that want to be seen on camera more than the other, you get people working together. And then if he's got a camera in there, handheld, he's just picking up all the good bits, and then he's able to go again, take two, do exactly what he did there, lads, try and better it, because that was gold. And then you're just onto a winner, because I mean, it takes it out of you because you're working on it fully, but it's never not enjoyable, I don't think, anyway, if I'm honest.
What do you enjoy?
Apart from, there was one time he stopped me going to a football match. was on a Saturday. I wasn't aware that I was working that Saturday. We were playing Stoke, only Stoke club.
Oh, no, that's a local derby. That's
sort of. It can be more local than it.
man.
If it was Forest, we were still talking. But yeah, I think I wound him up because I didn't realise I had my mic on. I was like, fucking nice kick-off, man. They've been saying all day I could go. And
How did
then
he react to that?
Huh?
How did he react to that?
Well, it wasn't only me because there was a couple of other heads that wanted to do things that Saturday as well, I think. And we'd only been told that midweek that we was working that day. And it was provided that we could finish earlier next year. And as things run over and all that, you know what I mean, it often does on film. It was my naivety to think I'd had any open getting anywhere that Saturday.
Yeah.
Because, you know what I mean, we've only got the 5 weeks to shoot it. You have to be committed, don't you?
That's it, yeah.
It's only the one match, like there was nothing particularly inspiring about most of the derby games I've attended.
So you've got a lot of people putting themselves out, ain't you, to put it all together?
That's it. So disrespectful me going on about derby. So
You were 15 though.
my apologies, disrespectful again. It's my mother. I don't want to be more disrespectful. Sorry. Mom,
Get her in on the video.
can I ring you back? Can I ring you back? I was going to say 5 then, but I don't want to lie to you. Probably be about 20,
Do a couple more
25.
Yeah.
Right. Lovely. Right, you're a babe. That's all. Yeah. So,
Okay.
it all contributes, though, mate.
So,
All contributes.
winding back about a couple of minutes, what do you mentioned enjoyment, what do you most enjoy and I suppose least enjoy as well about being an actor and lesbian?
I like your methods here, Mikey. I like your style, man.
Thank you.
Can I start with mostly enjoying?
Yeah, why not?
I'm never going to be able to define them completely in this instance. Gives a week and I'd have some bolters for you, I'm telling you. But for now, I reckon what I've found when I'm most thriving is when I've been in there all day or all week or something, and then by the end of it, like you've really done nothing that whole week apart from being on set and playing that character. Like you've really took a chunk out of your week, to say the least.
Mm.
And then after the day, everyone's like, Jack, you did really well there. These crew members that I've seen, some of the greats and that, they're going, nah, well in, Jack. Nice work. Put your feet up for the weekend. Have a doobie on me, all that lot.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, yeah, man. That's fulfilling, isn't it? And then you get into the car and that, and you're taking off all your costume and that, and you're like, yeah, man, I'm a pro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm not a con.
For sure.
You know what I mean? I'm like I could be in any worse position than that one anyway, and then to that sense of reward anyway, because there's the likes of my dad as well. You know what I mean? He's looking down, proper proud. You know what I mean? I think about that, take that in, ring me mum. I reckon you'd be all right with what I did today, mum. You know what I mean? And then she'd probably agree and all that shit. That's just wonderful. And then when I speak to my nana, she's like, oh, I saw what you did on that. Saw that Skins. I had to watch it on mute. But yeah, it's all right, isn't it? And that, like, getting the feedback and that, it's all brilliant. Especially of people that, you know, because it's a bit high profile, that has its advantages. But then that's what I least enjoy about it also, is because then when you're trying to do the normal things, that got me to where I am, and I'm trying to just hang out with the pals and whatnot. Say if it's particularly public, like you can't determine who comes over and appreciates your work. So some people have different ways of putting that to you. Some people can be either really courteous and fucking lovely and have a laugh with you, or some people can see it as their time to make an impression on me, and let me remember them. And then sometimes that leads people into acting like twats, basically, and just coming out with nonsense. Sometimes when I'm with my mum and my sister, I mean, your next man wouldn't take it, and I've only just started to come to terms with the fact that I'm an actor, and the fact that I might be recognisable for it. I'm not used to it, so the irony is when people come over and go, does this do your Reading? Does this really do your Reading? Like, well, what do I say to you that? Like, do you mind if I do tell you that you're doing me nothing? What do you do? Especially with your mum as well, who's fucking scarling. Not as much as it does hers in. I'll tell you, is that my mum again?
It's probably funny.
Don't know the number, I don't. Go on.
Let's go back to the British film industry. I don't know, what I've got written down is a bit of a bit of a deep, long drawn out question, but what do you make of the state of it, the British film industry and television
I
industry?
love you, Mikey, man. Give this man a job. You seeing this? Are you scouting? This guy, mate. Is this your first interview?
Yeah.
You'd never know. You go far, you will, Michael, I'm telling you. I might just quit what I do and join you. Put your bandwagon. The state, I don't like where its priorities are. Back to the question. I don't like where it's funding its money, mainly. Seems to be the more effects and the more visual you can get it, the more spectacular it'll be.
Right.
Fair enough, but then what you run the risk of is not preserving the talent in it, and that's a very vague word nowadays. It's been overused, like, but in my opinion, if you get an actor like David Freffel, one in particular, what he'll give you is an absolute descript version of the whole. Just he'll give you the whole dynamics of the one character. Frank Gallagher, how much do you love him? And then you'll see him in Nowhere Boy, and he's not a waster to a degree. He's a 60s waster, so 50s, 60s, like, so it could be. You know what I mean? He really studies the character and whatnot, and that kind of research. You don't need special effects. Shea Meadows won't use. There's nothing stuck in there in the edit, special effects wise. There's only little. I mean, I've never sat in there with him, so I don't know, but like what he manages to get anyway is just pure gold, like pure, true to life. Like when I think there's a lot more. It's a lot more of a spectacle when you get two performances or three or four. You know what I mean? A load of actors that are the characters. And they're bouncing off each other, because then you're just in there. It's not even a screen, you just feel like you're involved, don't you? Shawshank Redemption, remember that? Like, a lot of the time I just felt like I was in a prison with it. And when you can translate that over to the screen with, you know what I mean, in terms of having to finance or like a blockbuster movies and whatnot, I don't know how relevant they are sometimes, but obviously like in X-Men, I'm gonna and ah about it. I drink better, what do you expect?
I suppose it's the influence from like the American TV shows, right? With I mean, they've brought in that. There's a new law to do with the product placement, where they're allowed to do that on British TV now.
That's cool.
On the commercial channels. So they think by throwing money at it, like you say, by throwing money at it and bringing in all these effects and, you know, making it visually pleasing, that's somehow going to drag the talent up as well. Well, I mean, do you think that's likely, or?
I think to simplify it, yeah, so it's understandable, is the difference being producers who give the money sometimes, in my experience, aren't that creatively inspiring.
Right.
And sometimes they control too much because it's their funded project.
They see it as their project, and it's
probably so, because they've got to feed the family and whatnot. Right. But I'm sure, in my experience anyway, it's worked out better when the financial side of it is left to carry on with what, you know what I mean, the cut-off point has been fair. So we're allowed to creatively find out what will make the film really work and really sell. Some producers really know what they're talking about, and that's brilliant as well, because then you've got a right force. Some producers know that they don't know what they're talking about, and that's brilliant, because then they're just hands off about it.
Yeah.
And just happy to accept that you probably know better for your character in that situation.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't think there's in terms of British film, man, I don't think it's not in any dire straits, I don't think.
No.
Financially it might be and all that, I don't know, but it's easier than ever nowadays. Shane said this, Meadows himself. Nowadays it's easier than ever to make films.
So with the technology and the availability of it.
And people that want to see it as well, the festivals and whatnot.
Well, we were going to film this on an iPhone, for fuck's sake. So I mean, if you've got.
I swear the contract was that Handset himself suggests that's free.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? You're paying the contract.
Yeah.
If you made do you owe them money though if you was to make a low budget movie on their resource? They'd never know.
Okay.
I'm not telling you.
One last question. Since this is, we're going to do a bit of a hop into the 2011. 2011, fucking hell. It's big, innit? I didn't realise.
Jesus, yeah.
What have you got planned for the new year? Any ideas?
I'd like to travel with you, Michael.
I know you mentioned Thailand to me about. Your birthday's in August.
21st, man.
Alex. Ratty, J Rats. Let's get that name. Involved. I remember you mentioning Thailand.
Ratty.
About doing a bit of travelling.
Ratty. Yeah, he'd love it, wouldn't he? I'm 21 next year, along with him, man.
How about professionally? You got much going
Just
on?
wanted to say no there, Karen.
Any release dates?
I reckon there's a couple of things that I've been busy with this year. They'll come out in due course, 2011. Hopefully that helps the ball continue to roll.
Okay.
But to be honest, mate, I'm not particularly downhearted if I do nothing, no work next year, if it doesn't seem right, for the right reasons anyway. If it turns out to be the case, obviously I'd want to, but I'm really wary of getting myself involved in. You know what I mean? Just to get involved in, as opposed to letting work or letting the good work filter itself out, or the bad work. I mean.
Well, if you do find yourself needing a job, catering, then probably get some. Do a glass washer or something. Yeah.
I was thinking more PAs. Do some weekly PAs. See a crowd.
Prostituting
Graduate
yourself
to
night clubs. Fair enough.
We've got a Catholic family, Mark. We can't come out for you like that. Only give one to
I
the link to this.
won't give it that, no. No, you won't.
You're not too old to have a smack box.
Oh yeah, let's end with this random question that I came across. Might be interesting, might not. If you were the size of a penny and you were thrown into a blender and you had 60 seconds until it was turned on,
Right.
how would you go about your remaining 60 seconds?
The size of a penny.
Would you tactically, have you got a tactical idea as to how you get out, or would you just fuck it in?
Yeah, I think I just grip onto one of the blades. You can't get me then, can it?
And just hold on to it and let it spin you around.
That'd be a right way to go.
Yeah. So you'd be willing to go?
Yeah, I'd like to invite mates, but you're going to tell me I can't do that shit. So.
No, I haven't given you the option for that, so I'm afraid.
No. Not all my mates are the size of a penny, you know. Getting around me, see what you're saying to them.
Be arranged?
Yeah.
No.
You bet them all anyway. Well, back up to your back up. Hey, nice one. One of these?
Yeah, let's do it.
Sounds it.
Right, thanks for coming out, Jack.
Good luck.
And Aaron. Alright, that one's been Jack O'Connell, and that one's been Aaron Lodge, and I've been Michael O'Connell.
What do you prefers the term budge?
Budge, yeah, goes by night. Budge, and that's dust to dawn, baby.
It's worth a read, man. It's worth a read.
Very well worth a read.